Now, ladies and gentlemen, throughout the last few years, it was assumed aside from Valve's evergreen titles such as Counter-Strike and the Dota franchise, Valve had begun moving on from developing new video games and more so hyper-focusing on software and consoles such as the Steam Deck, which still does hold very true. But then on the other side of things, we have gotten countless updates for Dota 2 and Counter-Strike, but in between then and now, we've seen through data mines, Valve had begun working on a brand new game that's not in a continuation of any other franchise they've made in the past. I mean that in a sense since Valve cannot count to 3. Within the last week, it was leaked through game testers, Valve's new title is officially in an alpha playable build of the game, which at one point was a completely unknown title and was originally codenamed Citadel, then Neon Prime, but as of right now, its official name for release is codenamed Deadlock. Now this new game from Valve is said to be a mix between Valorant, Counter-Strike, Dota 2, TF2, Half-Life, and Portal all combined into one, which is great, but players of Valve's current titles have questions. Will and has DeadLocks Development been a reason for the lack of support for Valve's current games, specifically for today's video being Counter-Strike 2? Today's video will break down everything you need to know about Valve's next video game, that being Deadlock, and discuss the development teams behind Valve and what will be of Counter-Strike if this new game is a success. Now today's video sponsor is SkinsMonkey. SkinsMonkey is a buying but most notably trading marketplace, that being for your CS2 items. You can trade off your old skins for something new. All you do is log in with Steam, you start a trade, and any cash remaining goes to your available balance on the site. When it comes to trading an item you don't have enough balance for on the site, SkinsMonkey has a large variety of deposit options. By using my code MANDO, you can get up to a free $5, and by depositing alongside using my code, you get an additional 35% of a deposit bonus. With SkinsMonkey's large variety of skins, they also offer daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways. If interested, the link will be in the top of the description down below. Firstly, for today's video, I want to go into greater detail of explaining what Valve's next game is, and from there on out, we'll discuss the development behind this game and answer the big question if Valve is stretching too thin with all of its other green titles right now, on top of Valve's new shiny toy, that being Deadlock. Now, Deadlock is best described, in my opinion, from a tweet from Game Follower, as well as leaked early access images and some video from some players and leakers. Apparently, it's a competitive third-person hero-based shooter. It's a 6v6 on huge maps with 4 lanes. You have usable items and abilities, tower defense mechanics, and a fantasy setting. And like we mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's pretty much a mix between all of Valve's games in the past, alongside some other non-Valve titles as well. And I gotta say, this just feels odd, but at the same time, it's also a Valve thing to do. Deadlock has been in development since early 2018. This is also the same year we got the Boston Major, the introduction of Danger Zone, and of course, the ultimate 7-day trade hold. As well as I will mention, this was also 2 years before Half-Life Alyx's release in 2020. So it's been quite some time this game has been in the oven. The question is, will it cook? Now, a question I've seen popped up in my comments section, but also I have in general, is with Valve's work on Deadlock, the Steam Deck, Steam, Dota 2, Half-Life Alyx, CSGO, and now CS2, has this and did this hurt current games, specifically with Deadlock being pushed forward, and will it hurt it in the future if Deadlock is successful? In my opinion, in Valve's eyes, they see Deadlock to hopefully be a new cash cow. Will the focus be shifted and hasn't happened before? The reason I mention this is because of Valve's dev team for games. They simply work on what they want when they want. There's not really a set amount of devs to work on a game like Counter-Strike, at least from my knowledge as of recently. This video, yes, is an explanation of what Valve's next title is going to be, but is also a question of what this is going to do for the gaming industry and the impact this will have on Valve's current games. Now, the reason I state that is because Deadlock seems to take from all Valve's previously successful games and franchises and mush them all into one big game. And in most gamers' eyes and looking on paper, this is what most players would want. Now, that aside, it leaves me with some questions, which this is kind of going off script here, but it feels like this video is almost a Q&A. Nevertheless, let's continue. Will we as the CS community feel abandoned or be abandoned just like the TF2 community was all those years ago? Based off the leaked gameplay and images shown, a majority of the community, that being with Dota 2 and Counter-Strike, could really give less of a rip than they do at the moment. Now, another tweet from Game Follower shows what I think will happen, where I believe most players are going to be underestimating Deadlock's success. Game Follower put this tweet out a couple days ago saying people seem to underestimate the potential of Deadlock, comparing it directly to Overwatch and Valorant. Keep in mind that Steam has the workshop and Dota 2 arcade with custom game modes. Now, I will say this. I don't think everything Valve touches turns to gold, but more so makes it a viable source of income. It simply just brings in cash and new players in a very friendly way. Counter-Strike's economy and Counter-Strike as a franchise is the pinpoint example. It leaves fun and a hobby for the community, yet you don't need actual skins for wins. Yet on the other hand of Counter-Strike, if we look at the lack of communication, updates, and care for the game over the years, it's really started to show. Also, to mention the obvious, Valve just released Counter-Strike 2. At least that's what it feels like. It released last year, though CS2 was thought to be their new baby, which I still believe is the case, but where's the content and the promised fixes from CSGO? Upgrading the Source 2 engine for Counter-Strike wasn't just about skins, but in my opinion, a new beginning of how we'll receive updates, which as of now is partially true, which this also leads me to a question on how Valve actually sees Counter-Strike as a franchise. I don't really think this is my opinion, more so just stating the obvious. I simply think Valve sees Counter-Strike as a franchise right now, where they can put the minimal amount of effort into a game, just because it has Counter-Strike logo and is the newest game, it generates banks, so why change? That's just my opinion though. At the end of the day, money talks. Now, another question I've seen floating around the community is, did DeadLocks Development halted their games, or for an example, TF2? Is this the reason reason TF2 never saw the Source 2 charm. Is this the replacement? Which this is really hard to pinpoint if this was the actual cause. At the end of the day, I just believe that Team Fortress 2 kind of just died out. It was just one of those games that didn't hold well with the times. Yes, the lack of updates didn't help it. Microtransactions helped it a little bit, but even if they did continuously update the game and maybe even got Source 2, I'm not sure the game would be as big as it once was. But what I do believe Deadlock did for Counter-Strike is I believe the reason we didn't get Counter-Strike 2 on CSGO's 10th anniversary is because of something like Deadlock. Now, I'm really picking at nothing with this. It could be a completely different development team, but from what I've been told and just know about Valve is they have one big development team for their games and they can work on what they want when they want, and there's not really any set development cycles or teams for certain games. So take that as you will. And as we started today's video, I now want to also end on Counter-Strike. Is DeadLocks Development and soon to be released some of the reason Counter-Strike updates have slowed so much down as of recently? I mean, it's been 3 years since Operation Riptide, no new anti-cheat nor content that hasn't been seen that's brand new inside Counter-Strike 2, and no, I'm not talking about already recycled content. Playing on the left hand, getting arms race back with baggage and shoots, that doesn't necessarily count. Yes, it has the Source 2 charm, but it's something we had from CSGO. And I'm really interested to see what you guys think down below of Deadlock as a game, but also if you think that this has halted some of the development of Valve's other titles such as Counter-Strike, and maybe has been some of the reason, well, updates have slowed down so much as of recently. I think Deadlock could be pretty interesting. We should see a trailer with a release date soon, maybe a release of Christmas this year or spring of 2025. For those wondering where Mando Monday and just some of my weekly releases are for videos, Mando Monday needed some last minute touch-ups. The past 2 days I've had some really big PC issues. I've recorded Mando Monday, all the files got corrupted. Not gonna lie, I got a little cheddar, but it just gave me a reason to touch up on it some more. And I think over the last 3 to 4 weeks, with not really any big Counter-Strike updates, I've been semi-stepping away from uploading as frequently as I once was, but I do plan on returning to the pace that we once were at. With that all being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay positive, stay sexy. I'm out, guys. Peace.